English Podcast.
From LangWidge Web.
Have you ever said, AI is controlling everything now during an IELTS test, only to get stuck explaining what you meant?
Or maybe you tried using the phrase, robots will replace humans, but couldn't back it up with strong reasons.
You're not alone. Many students struggle in IELTS Speaking Part 3 because they give vague ideas without clear explanations or examples.
That's why in today's episode of LangWidge Web, we're diving into Part 3 of the IELTS speaking test with the topic, Artificial Intelligence.
We'll help you learn how to develop your answers logically, use higher-level vocabulary, and respond like a confident speaker when discussing modern technology.
By the end of this episode, you'll feel more prepared to speak fluently and clearly about AI and impress the examiner with your ideas.
All right, now that we've set the stage and talked about the topic, let's hear how a real IELTS Speaking Part 3 conversation on artificial intelligence might sound. We're going to role-play a natural dialogue with common expressions and some handy pronunciation tips along the way.
Listen carefully and try to notice how we organize our answers and use useful phrases.
Let's jump right into sample dialogue 1.
All right, Tom, let's jump into Part 3. First question. Do you think artificial intelligence will have a positive or negative impact on society in the future?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think it'll be both positive and negative. I mean, on the one hand, AI can help with healthcare, like diagnosing diseases faster than humans.
Interesting. And what about the negative side?
Well, I guess many people fear that AI might take over jobs, especially like repetitive ones. Actually, I read somewhere that truck drivers and cashiers might be replaced soon. So yeah, there's a bit of a double-edged sword, you know?
Great point. Here's another one. Do you think students should learn about artificial intelligence in school?
Oh, for sure. I think it's already shaping our lives. Like social media algorithms, they're all AI. So if students get the hang of it early, they'll be better prepared.
Nice expression. And how would that help them in the future?
Maybe they'll have more chances to work in tech fields or just be smarter about using AI tools. Even simple stuff like using ChatGPT to study. I mean, we should know how it works, not just use it, right?
Exactly. And one last question. Do you think humans will still be in control of AI in the next 50 years?
That's tough. I'd like to say yes, but who knows? If AI keeps learning on its own, it might be hard to draw the line.
True, but maybe with good laws and ethics in place.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how responsible we are as a society. We have to make sure AI works for us, not against us.
Nice. That's a solid answer. Good use of expressions, and you explained your ideas clearly, even if you weren't 100% sure.
Thanks. I still mess up sometimes, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Did you catch some of the natural expressions and idioms in that conversation?
If not, don't worry. This next part is for you. We're going to analyze that sample and give you some tips to level up your IELTS speaking.
Let's go through the structure, vocabulary upgrades, and pronunciation details that can help you boost your score, especially in the fluency and lexical resource bands.
Sounds good. So first, let's talk about the structure. In Part 3, your answers should have 3 parts: an introduction, some main details, and a conclusion.
Exactly. For example, Tom started with his opinion. Honestly, I think it'll be both positive and negative. Then he gave reasons and examples, like how AI helps healthcare, but also might take jobs.
And he finally wrapped it up by saying it's a double-edged sword.
Right. Speaking of useful phrases, there were several in that dialogue you can add to your own answers.
Like, on the one hand, to show contrast, or get the hang of, which means to become skilled at something.
And don't forget, draw the line, which means to set a clear limit. These idioms help you sound more natural and fluent.
Now, let's talk about pronunciation.
Yes. When speaking naturally, we link words together. For example, kind of sounds like kind of a, and take over jobs links smoothly too.
Also, stressing the right words is important. Listen to how Tom stressed can help and healthcare to show meaning.
Good point. Stressing keywords helps the listener understand your main ideas.
And for vocabulary, there are stronger alternatives to common words. Instead of saying good impact, you could say positive contribution or benefit society.
Or instead of bad thing, try negative consequence or risk.
These small upgrades make your speech sound more academic without being too difficult.
Finally, here's a quick tip. Avoid giving short answers like yes or no. Always try to explain your ideas and give examples.
Like, instead of just, yes, AI is helpful, say, yes, I think AI helps because it speeds up tasks in healthcare and finance.
Exactly. That way you show the examiner your ability to speak fluently and logically.
All right, that's the breakdown for Dialogue 1. Ready for another one? This next sample goes a bit deeper with more advanced vocabulary and longer responses.
Let's jump into sample dialogue 2 and see how to take your speaking to the next level.
All right, let's keep going. Next question. Do you think AI will change the way people work in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's already happening, right? People use AI tools to write emails, create designs, even generate code. So I think in the future, more jobs will focus on managing AI instead of doing things manually.
That's a good point. So would you say it's a good thing overall?
I'd say yes and no. It's great for saving time, but people who aren't tech savvy might struggle to keep up. Like, if you don't know how to use these tools, you might get left behind.
Fair enough. Here's another one. Should governments control how AI is used?
Oh, for sure. Without rules, companies might just do whatever they want. I mean, some AI systems are already biased, and that's a big problem. Governments need to step in and set some boundaries, like where we draw the line, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, last question. What skills will be most important for people to have in an AI-driven world?
Probably creativity and critical thinking. Like, AI is great at repeating stuff or analyzing data, but it still can't really think outside the box. So I think people who can come up with ideas or solve problems in new ways will still be super valuable.
I like that. You kept it real, but still gave solid answers.
Thanks. I tried to sound natural, but still give full answers. Like, not just yes or no. Great job listening to our second dialogue. Now, let's break it down and see what makes these answers work.
Sure thing. Just like before, each answer follows a simple structure: an introduction, some supporting details, and a quick conclusion or final thought.
Right. For example, when asked about how AI will change work, Tom said, yeah, definitely, to show agreement. Then he gave examples of AI tools helping with emails, designs, and coding.
And he finished by saying more jobs will focus on managing AI, which wraps up the idea nicely.
Speaking of vocabulary, there were some really useful expressions this time, like left behind, meaning to miss out or not keep up, and step in and set boundaries, which means to take control and limit something.
Yeah, and phrases like draw the line and think outside the box add color and show your language range.
On pronunciation, notice how the conversation sounds relaxed because of connected speech. Words link smoothly together, like it's already happening and you might get left behind.
Plus, using natural rhythm and intonation makes your speech more interesting. For example, rising intonation at the start of answers and falling intonation at the end shows confidence and helps the listener follow along.
Good point. And if you want to sound more academic, try swapping simple words for stronger alternatives. For example, instead of bad, say problematic or risky, and instead of rules, say regulations or policies.
Just change one word at a time. That way your answers still sound natural, but more impressive.
Finally, remember to always explain your answers fully. Avoid just yes or no. Show balance by saying things like, on the one hand and on the other hand.
And add your opinion at the end to make your answer complete.
That's it for our breakdown and tips on the second dialogue. Feeling ready to practice?
Now it's your turn.
Yep. We're going to give you some real IELTS Part 3 style questions and guide you through building your own answers.
Try to speak out loud as you practice, just like in the real test.
Practice question 1. Do you think artificial intelligence will affect how people learn in the future? Use this structure. Yes, no, why? Example, final thought. Example, yes, I believe it will. AI tools like ChatGPT or personalized learning apps already help students study in smarter ways. For example, they can get instant feedback or study at their own pace. So in the future, I think education will become more flexible and tailored to each person. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and try answering.
Practice question 2. What kinds of jobs are most at risk because of AI? Use expressions like repetitive tasks, replace human labor, jobs that don't require creativity. Example, I think jobs that involve repetitive tasks like data entry or factory work are most at risk. AI can do these tasks faster and more accurately, but jobs that require creativity or emotional intelligence are probably safer. For now, pause and try answering with your own ideas.
Practice question 3. Should AI be used to make decisions in areas like law or healthcare? Try showing both sides. Use on the one hand, on the other hand. Finish with your opinion. Example, on the one hand, AI can help doctors and lawyers by analyzing large amounts of data quickly. On the other hand, I think it's risky to let AI make final decisions, especially in emotional or moral situations. So I'd say AI can help, but humans should stay in control. Now it's your turn to practice. Don't just copy, make it your own. Pro tip: record yourself answering and listen back. Focus on clarity, structure, natural expressions, pauses, and intonation. The more you practice, the more natural it'll feel, especially in part 3, where deeper thinking is expected.
And don't worry about sounding perfect. Focus on building strong answers with logic and personality.
Great job so far. Ready for the recap?
All right, before we wrap up, it's time for today's listener challenge.
Here's how it works. We'll review a few key phrases from today's episode, and your challenge is to use at least one of them in your own sample answer in the comments. Today's expressions to remember. It's a double-edged sword. Get left behind. Draw the line. Step in and set boundaries. Think outside the box. Repetitive tasks. AI can replace human labor.
Now it's your turn. Pick one of today's Part 3 questions, or make your own, and write a short answer using one or more of these expressions.
Drop it in the comments. We'd love to see what you come up with. And who knows, we might even feature your answer in our next episode.
If you found today's lesson helpful, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us reach more English learners around the world.
And don't forget to subscribe to LangWidge Web for more practical speaking practice, tips, and real-life English conversations every week.
Got a question about IELTS or a topic you want us to cover next time? Just leave it in the comments.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and keep practicing. You've got this.
See you next time on LangWidge Web.
Have a great day.